How can you tell when someone really loves you?
Well, it's in the marriage vows. Through sickness and through health, right? Through riches and through poor. And if you're not going to stay through those trials, then there's no love there.
If you don't want to. If you don't want to stay.
What's a decision?
Right, if you don't want to stay.
It's also a decision. Like when we took our vows, it was serious. So it was a solemn occasion because I meant it. It was like, and I knew by that time more or less what that meant. It's a hell of a thing to say. And I knew that partly from reading Jung. You know, he believed that you couldn't make a marriage work without the commitment, the real full-out commitment, because you can just run away from each other then. You can't solve your problems if you can run away. If the door's open. Because at some point, you'll encounter a marriage problem that looks like the problem is worse than getting divorced. Like that'll happen. And so if divorce is an option, you just won't solve the problem. And the problem is that there's a problem of that size in virtually every relationship. I mean, that's the problem of Satan fundamentally. Like there's just no getting away.
Those problems come up though if you don't pursue what's meaningful in your life. If you have sins of omission, if you do all those things, then that is the consequence of that, is that you'll find yourself in a place where you think maybe divorce is easier. So you don't want to go there. You want to take care of things every week.
But then at what point is divorce easier? I feel like because there is a point. But then I feel like, okay, so with my experience, maybe if you get to that point, it's because you didn't know the person very well.
There's lots of reasons you can get to that point. And, you know, I had lots of clients who chose the path of divorce, and they often chose the path of divorce.
We've had family members too.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Right? So.
When they couldn't negotiate with their partner. Now, there's all sorts of reasons you might not be able to negotiate with your partner. One would be you're not skilled enough as a negotiator. Another would be they're actually not interested in
or you're not suitable. You're just not suitable. Your personalities are such that, you know, my sister was I think she was probably pretty agreeable, and her husband was super disagreeable and kind of a loner.
Yeah.
And he didn't negotiate at all.
Yeah.
And they grew apart.
Yeah, that often splits men and women. You'll get an agreeable woman who's quite feminine, and a disagreeable man who's quite masculine, and there's no grounds to communicate. You know, the guy just goes, you know, and maybe he's not very articulate, you know, and there's no moving him. And maybe he doesn't even know how to negotiate, because people are so bad at negotiating. It's just a miracle. And it's not surprising, because negotiation is sort of the opposite of a sin of omission.
Yeah.
If you're negotiating, you have to confront all the things you want to avoid right now. And no one wants that. It's so annoying. It's like, if I'm negotiating with Tammy, I have to listen to all her problems. You know, and it's way easier just to not want to bother with that. But the problem with that is the problems are there. So like I can wish that they weren't there all I want, but that isn't going to make them go away. So it's way better just to, and I really don't like it.
No, but you practice with little things. We practice with little things, daily things that we negotiate. And then if you have to negotiate something that's deep and troublesome, at least you've practiced some of it. Maybe you can do it then.
See, I know that she loves me to the degree that she plays along. And that's a good definition. You know, when we went to Florence, Tammy went to Florence to do a sight-sizing course in Renaissance art. Well, I played along, like wholeheartedly. Well, why? Well, that's like a definition of love. You play along with the person you love, and play is the right metaphor. And we've discovered that more and more, especially in the aftermath of our illnesses. Like we've always been pretty good at playing along with each other because we played together as kids. Like that's a pretty standard pattern.
Yeah, that helped probably.
Yeah, definitely. We learned that we could play along with each other when we were very little, and that was very positive thing. Like that was disrupted in teenagehood for, you know, any number of reasons. But, you know, we've had very serious conversations in the last few years. And one of the things we've made even more clear to each other is like, she can do whatever she wants. I am not interested in getting in her way in the least. If I can figure out where she's headed and I can do something to help her with that, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to assume that will dovetail with what I'm doing. And she's playing along with me. And, you know, we have a weird life, and it's an unbelievable life in many ways. And we come together now and then and think, you know, are we going to continue with this particular game? And like, Tammy's always been up for an adventure. So love is the highest form of play. That's true.